We're going to be planting some sunflowers out of the Gen X Gardener Instant Gardener seed set.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, of course, everything in here you can put directly in your garden. I'm putting these today, these things that I absolutely hate. Peat pods. Peat pots. Peat garbage. Okay? I can't stand them. I bought these probably like 6 or 7 years ago, kind of before I learned a little bit more about the peat industry and Big Pete and... Big Pete, that should be like the name of a restaurant, eh?
Hello, darlings. I'm Big Pete, and welcome to my oyster bar. Unless if you haven't guessed already, they don't call me Big Pete because I'm tall.
Anyways, I have these. I've been using them as sets. I just put my seed starting strays so they're closer to the grow lights. I just want them out of my life. So I am going to plant some sunflowers in here. It's past the frost date, so I can do it right out in the garden. But one of the benefits of this is that I am going to maybe kind of keep these a little bit elevated, hopefully away from bunnies and stuff like that. Any that I put in the garden as well, I'm going to probably be covering with plastic bottles or plastic cups. Make sure you search around here because I do have some where I did with peas. The growth is insane. It works. It's fantastic. Condensation is your buddy. So in your set is a mix of various colorful sunflowers. Now in here, there's nothing giant. Okay, it does not have your mammoth sunflowers that are growing 20 feet tall. Everything here is probably in the 1.5 meter range. And you have probably, you know, your smaller sunflower sized flower heads. And if you look at them, oh my gosh, they are just so darn cute. Look at that. The reason I don't like these, a number of reasons actually. So one, the peat industry or whatnot, you know, it comes across as being like a really nice eco-friendly thing, but I don't think it is really. You know, on one hand, you know, peat takes a long time to regenerate or replenish itself, right? If it's being rubbed out of a certain area, well, one, you're risking over harvesting the peat. And even if you are doing it at a little bit more of a sustainable rate, it's going to take a long bloody time for that area to develop its own ecosystem again. It's not like growing a field of hemp that, you know, hey, that's a great product for shirts and stuff like that, and paper, and it's better than trees. I'm going to agree with you completely on hemp because you can grow it in a season, you can harvest it, and you can grow it right again. Peat is not like that, okay? Peat takes time to develop. You know, you're robbing ecosystems entirely of that carbon source that it needs. I also think, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken, part of the reason peat bogs are such a great source of carbon is because they are carbon suckers, right? So removing peat from our bogs and our forests and whatnot is actually going to have a terrible effect, I believe, on the, and you can correct me if I'm wrong down here in the comments, but I think by removing that, you're removing a source that is sucking carbon anyways as a greenhouse gas out of the environment. So I'm just going to put one in each cell, okay? I'm going to say it again. I am not a fan of overseeding. I will always buy an overseeded pot from a garden center because it means I can split it and I get more plants for that. But I just want each seed to have its best little life and access to as much nutrients as it can. Now, I will say that I do overseed if I'm dealing with older seeds, right? Because your germination rate is dropping year after year. So, you know, I just recently planted a bunch of both peppers and tomatoes. I overseeded a couple varieties, did extremely well. I had some moneymaker tomatoes. Those seeds, they're probably 4-year-old seeds. And like each cell had 3 or 4 seedlings grow up. So that was fine. Like, I mean, happy times. My peppers, I unfortunately did not have anything good. I mean, I have entire varieties that did not even get me a seedling, which is really kind of heart-wrenching because some of those varieties are either A, ones that, you know, I kind of grew and they were crossbred and they were kind of unique, but I'll never get them back. And then more importantly is actually, you know, shishito peppers, which we love and go through like crazy in the summer. And like I said, none of those germinated. Hey, I'm done. Look at that. Now, another thing that I hate about this is that you can't really bottom water these peat things because they'll just soak it up and go to crap. So I will be watering from the top. To do that, I'll probably be going with a light mist of sorts, like, you know, like a water hose on like a spray type thing out here in the garden, because I don't want to really be disturbing the seed that is in there. I am curious to see how this does. I've done almost the exact same video. No, I've done the same concept of a video as a short, so we're gonna see what YouTube does with this, considering it's the same content on the 2 videos. So if you see this, make sure that you like so they get spread out to other people. Plant your finger on that like button right down there, and I thank you, and I will say, remember, if you're not dirty, you're not doing it right. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.